Hello friends, welcome back to automationtestinginsider.com. This is Selenium WebDriver part 59 and today we are going to talk about how to generate log files using Selenium WebDriver. And this is an important topic. So logs are very important part of your automation testing. So whenever you encounter any problem or issues, then easily you can look back your code while debugging and easily you can understand the flow of the program where the problem occurs. Okay, so this is very important topic guys, so let's get started. So this is what I have written: what is log and why it is required. So during the execution of your test case, user wants some information to be captured or logged into the console. Information could be any detail, depends on your usage or your requirements. Okay, keeping this in mind that we are using Selenium for testing, so we need information which helps the user to understand the test steps or any failure during the test case execution. So you can the user should understand where the problem, from where the problem comes. Okay, so and user can understand the flow of the program as well. So with the help of log4j, that is mechanism, it is possible to enable logging during the Selenium test execution. So what is log4j? So log4j is a fast, flexible and reliable logging mechanism or framework written in Java, and it was developed in 1996 for the first, and for the first time it was launched in 1996, and it is distributed under the Apache software license, and this is used for logging mechanism for small to large scale Selenium automation projects. And this I mean developer also uses the same log4j for logging purpose. So why we are using log4j? What are the advantages of log4j? So first of all, it is an open source API, or you can say mechanism. With log4j, it is possible to store the flow details of our Selenium automation in a file, console, or database, and it can be used for large as well as small projects, as we have discussed in the previous slide. And what are the different components of log4j? So basically we have three components: we have loggers, we have appenders and layouts. So what do you mean by loggers? So it is responsible for logging the information. Okay, so what are the different steps to be taken to log the for the logging, right, for the logs? So first of all, we have to create the instance of logger class. So there is a class called logger, so we have to create the object of logger class. Do not worry guys, I'll explain this part, like how to get the loggers, how to create the instance, and okay. And the second thing is log4j level. So we have different levels of log4j. We have primarily there are 5 kinds of log levels. We have org, this level, all. We have this level is logging for log everything. We have debug, info. So generally we are using info because we used to print some informational message that highlights the progress of the application, like at each step what is the progress. We used to write using info, like log.info, and then we'll write our message. Similarly, we have warn, error, fatal and off. So these are the different levels. And the second component is appenders. So it is used to deliver log events to their destination. So basically it writes the log into file or console. So basically we have three types. We have console appender, logs to standard output. So this will write your logs into console. Okay, and the second one is file appender, prints the log to some file in a text format or okay, or any other format. Rolling file appender to a file with maximum size. So basically these two are same, but the only difference is this rolling file appender has the maximum size of the file. Okay, and the third component is layouts. So it is responsible for formatting, logging information in different styles, how your logs will be uh, seen by the user. So that is we can that what we can that can be decided using layouts. Okay, and what are the different steps to be taken to create the log in Selenium WebDriver? So we have I have written over here 5 steps. So first of all, we have to download log4j jar files or get the dependency if you are using Maven project. Okay, the second is create an log4j XML configuration file and keep it in your project directory. Third is create a utility class log class to initialize log4j logs. We have to create the instance of logger class so to initialize the logs. Create base class and configure your log4j XML using DOM configurator class. So since we have this log4j.xml file, so we have to uh, initialize that, right? I mean, we have to configure that. So using DOM configurator class, we can easily configure that. And the final step is write your test cases using test class, and you can write logs inside the test cases. So these are the 5 steps we are going to steps which we are going to perform. And instead of log4j XML configuration, guys, you can use log4j.properties file as well. Both will do the same thing. The only difference is here the configuration is a little bit easy, so that's what I have I prefer to use log4j.xml. And but these two will do the same task. Okay. We'll configure our log4j XML in the form of XML format. Okay, so let's get started. My Eclipse is already open here, and here what I'll do, I'll create a project, Maven project, and just select create a simple project. I'll give name over here demo project. I'll give name demo project 1 because already we have demo project, and simply copy paste artifact ID. I'll keep it as group ID. Okay, and click on finish. So here my project is created, and here I have my pom.xml. So what is the first step? We need to download log4j jar files or get the dependency if you are using Maven project. So I'll at the time when I'll write blog, I'll write a post on this on my blog. At the time I'll give the path how to download jar files for log4j. So for time being, since I'm using Maven project, so I'm going to take Maven dependency. Okay, so how you can take, you can easily, I mean, simply you have to write Maven second log4j dependency. So this is the first, you can get it from here, from the first link like this. Okay, so I think already I have in my previous class, previous project, WebDriver concept 3. So what I'll do, here we have pom.xml. Simply I'll copy, here we have log4j, so I'll copy all this XML and I'll put it over here. Okay, so just do Control S, save, and if you see in Maven dependencies, we have this log4j is downloaded over here, configured automatically by using this Maven dependency. Okay, so here you can see in this XML we have in pom.xml we have the Selenium Java version, we have TestNG, we have this commons IO. This is not required, so we can delete these two dependency, and here we have a short, so simply we can delete like this. Sorry, from here, yeah. Again I'll do Control S. We have log4j, so this is what be required. Now what is the next step? We have to create a log4j. This is done. And create a also, okay, sorry, log4j is not done. This, the first step is done. Log4j jar files, using this form XML we have this dependency over here. Okay, so that is done. The second is create an log4j.xml configuration file. Okay, so in the same project, okay, sorry guys, we have seen last time that wrong Maven dependency. So here you can see the log4j is downloaded here, right? We have created this new project, demo project 1. So for log4j.xml, I'll take from the previous class only log4j.xml. I'll take this complete XML, and what I'll do, I'll put it over here, right click, and we'll create a file, and here I'll give log4j.xml. Click on finish, and in this log4j.xml we'll put the XML file which we copied from previous class. Okay, so let me just quickly explain what it does. Okay, this configuration file log4j.xml. So here we have appender tag. So the name of this appender is console. So this part will write the logs onto the console. Okay, and yeah, this is the class console appender. Using this we'll write our logs on console. The param name is target, and this is system.out. The value is system.out, so that means nothing but your console. And this is pattern layout class. Okay, using pattern layout class, simply will this will decide like how it looks, our logs will look. Okay, so this is the format we have given over here. So simply you can copy paste this XML for your purpose, and I'll provide this XML in my blog, guys, going forward. And the second is second appender, we have this file appender. So we'll write our logs into the file as well. So for that we have called this rolling file appender. So if you see, earlier we have discussed in appenders we have three types, right? Console appender, file appender, and rolling file appender. So far we have used this console appender. We have discussed this console appender, and the second one is rolling file appender. I'm sorry, this rolling file appender. Okay, now this is to just initialize or call those give the reference of those console and file appender over here. Okay, so this is done. This is the configuration file log4j.xml. Now what is the next step we have to see? Create a utility class log to initialize log4j logs. So how to create the log utility class? So what I'll do, I'll create inside this main Java, I'll create one package, let's say com dot utility. Click on finish, and what I'll do, from previous project only, I'll copy the log. Where is that? I think we have not here. Here we have that log file. Simply I'll copy that class, and I'll put it over here. I'll explain this class what it does basically. So if you see this log class, okay, so here we have initialized log4j logs. We have initialized this logger class. This is the variable, and we have called this get logger. So what it does, retrieve a logger named according to the value of the name parameter. So it will simply we have to provide the parameter of our log class, log.class.get name. So it will pick this class name. Okay, so this is how we can initialize our logger class. okay, using the logger class. This is our the logger class, and this system class. Okay, this is the central class in the log4j package. Most logging operations except configuration are done through this class. So all the logging mechanism will be done using this logger class. And simply we have written some custom methods, like what is the message we want to give when we start our test case. So this is what we have written, custom method, and here is the information. So I'm calling this info method using this object. This is variable, okay, this variable. So log.info, here simply we have given some message, okay, and this is the test case name. Similarly, we have given we have created this end test case, and this is the message, same message, okay. And we need, as you have seen, different levels of logging, right? Like all, debug, info, warn, error, etc. So all I have created a static methods over here. You can see here info, I have created here info method, warn method, error method, and similar inside that I'm calling the system method, which is info. Log a message object with info level, and you can see here log a message object with warn level. So this is for warning, and this is for error. Log a message object with error level, like that. So already, I mean, I have created the static methods for all the levels. Okay, so this class is very simple, this log class. Okay, so this is done. What is the next step we have to go for? Yeah, so create base class and configure your log4j.xml. Now our log4j.xml is ready, our log class is ready. Now we have to create a base class to configure this log4j.xml. So how to configure? So inside this main Java folder we will create another package com.base class, and in this base class I'll create class called I'll just rename it to small letter base class. Yeah, and here inside this package I'll create base class. Click on finish, and in this base class what I'll do, I'll create one method, public void, let's say before suite. So we'll create testng.xml and we'll run our suite. Okay, and I'll give annotation over here, before suite. I think we have to add testng library. Yeah, and import before suite from org.testng.annotations. This is done, and what I'll do here, in before suite method we have this class name, right, DOM configurator. So simply write DOM configurator. Here you'll see, and we have configure method in this DOM configurator class. So yeah, this you can take, and here we have to give the file name. So what the XML file name which we have created for log4j, so log4j.xml. So this is done. Now we'll write some logs over here. How to write? So our class is, since we have created a static method over here in this log class, so simple, we'll call using class log.info, and here I'll put some message like this is before suite method, like this. One second, this will be configured here, so we have to write our message below this, because before this whatever you'll write that will not be logged, because our XML is configured in on this particular line. Okay, so we'll write our step, our logging related things over below this line, and this will run at top, guys. The first method will run this before suite, and after that whatever will call test classes, test methods, no need to configure the XML again and again. Okay, so this is one time activity. So that's what I have configured this in this before suite annotation in this before suite method. And simply let's public void right after suite, after after suite method. Okay, and yeah, here I'll write after suite like this, and simply I'll copy this log.info, and this is after suite method. So our base class is ready. Later on when we'll automate any application, then I'll show you how to set up uh, uh, how to initialize the browsers and all. That we'll do later on. Now let's create a test class. This is base class, so we'll create our test class in this src test java folder. Okay, so right click here, and here we have, let's create package first, com dot tests. Click on finish, and inside this package I'll create a class called test class. Let's say test class 1, and here I'll write some test cases. Public void test case 1, and yeah, simply we'll write some logs, log dot, and if you remember, we have start test case and end test case method in this log class. Okay, so we'll call these two methods from test class, so let's call them start test case, and here we'll give test case name, which is test case 1, and log dot info, we have info, and I will write here this is test case 1, and at the end we'll call and test case. So this is how we write our logs in test class, in test methods. Okay, and simply here we'll give this test case 1. So our the first test case is ready, and I'll put annotation test over here. We have to import test from org.testng.annotations. Simply we'll call some more, or we'll create some more test cases. So let's say this is test case number 2. Here I'll put 2, 2, and 2 over here. This is 3, 3, and 3, 3 over here. So guys, our test class is also ready. We have 3 test cases. Okay, test case 1, 2, 3, and our base class is also ready. Now let's create testng.xml. So how to create? We have this project, demo project, our project, and right click. We have testng, convert to testng. Let's keep suite name as suite, test name as test only, and click on finish. Our testng.xml is ready, and here I'll create one more, I'll provide one more class, so we'll call our base class as well. So what is the package name? We have to give the exact package name, base class, this package name dot base class. So everything is ready now. class name is base class. Okay, so this is our suite file, xml file, testng.xml. Let me just recap what we have done. So first of all, what we have done, we have created the pom.xml and add the dependency of this log4j. The second step is create an log4j.xml configuration file. So this is our log4j.xml configuration file, and I'll provide this XML in my blog. Do not worry about this one. And the third is create a utility class. So this is my utility class, log class, where we have initialized the log using the logger class. Okay, and we have created some custom methods like start test case, end test case, and we have for info, I mean for log levels, we have different methods like info one. For them I have created a static method so that I can easily call in my test class. And we have this create base class and configure your log4j.xml using DOM configurator. So we have created base class, and here we have configured this log4j.xml over here. Okay, and at last write your test case using test classes. So here we have one test case, test class 1, and here we have written the test cases. Now simply we'll execute our testng.xml. So right click and run as testng suite. So just run it. Yeah, this is done, I guess. So let me run this. So guys, here you can see yeah, all test cases are passed, 1 2 3. And if you see the console, we can see it gives time, date 3rd May, and this is the time. And here you can see this is before suite method, okay, which we have called from base class. We have written this message in base class in before suite method. And here you can see from test classes, test case 1 is called, okay, test start, test end, so it is ending here. For test case 2 it is ending here, and this is test case 3 start and ending over here. And after that, this is after suite method, from after suite method method. Okay, so this is how you can configure logs in your project, guys. So now we'll see real-time example. Let's say in base class we have we'll put our setup method to initialize. What I'll do, in previous WebDriver concept we have setup method, so simply I'll copy that in base class. I think we have not this base test. Yeah, I'll copy this setup method, before method, and I'll put it over here on this in our base class. So this is to launch the browser, and here we have application. Well, I think this is open source CMS, that WordPress website. Yeah, so we can use this, no problem. And we have to declare WebDriver a top, WebDriver driver, and let's declare it public so we can use in our test classes as well. So guys, this is setup method to launch the browser. Every time this will be called before our test method. Okay, simply we have created the object of Chrome driver, so Chrome browser will launched and will maximize the window, and will navigate to this WordPress application. Okay, so this is about base class. We have configured this setup method. Now in test class I'll create second, yeah, this is our project. In test class I'll create another test class. I'll give name test class 2. Okay, earlier we have test class 1 and this is test class 2. Click on finish. Public void WordPress test, WordPress test. Okay, now we need that WebDriver. So what we'll do, we'll simply extends base class, base class from here. Okay, yeah, so we have extended the base class so we can use the driver. Now simply what we'll do, we'll inspect this username, and what is the user id is user login, so we can use this driver dot find element by dot id and put the id over here, dot send keys, and I'll provide the username open source CMS. And similarly we have for password as well, so id is user pass. So what we'll do, simply we'll copy paste here id, and the password is the same. Now third would be click on login button, so we'll inspect this. So this is the id for login button. Here we'll write driver dot find element by dot id, and we'll put id over here, and then we have to perform click operation. So this is how we can log in into the application. Now let's call those log uh, methods. Okay, so we'll call this info method. So this is directly we can call that start test method, start test case method. So here we can write this WordPress test. Okay, and yeah, and after that we can call info method. Here we'll provide entering username, entering username, and after this username and then password. And third one would be click on login button. So three logs we have written so far, and after login that after clicking on that login button, we'll write home page. Simply we'll write home page, and yeah, once let's get into the application, and we'll write open source CMS. After logging into the application, what we'll do, let's get the current URL, and we'll validate that. Okay, so how to validate, driver dot get current URL we have method. Okay, and that will give in the form of string, and here we'll write URL string. Okay, and simply we'll compare. Okay, so what we can do here is we'll write assert dot assert equals and this is our actual, right? So put actual over here, and what we expect, 1 second, this is what we expect. So you can put your URL here, or we'll do one thing, we'll write one more line over here, string expected URL, and this is our URL. and simply I'll put URL over here, this expected URL variable. Okay, semicolon at the end. So this is how we can validate our URL, the current URL, after getting into the application. And let's write some log here as well. Here I'll write get URL, or let's say current URL, and after that, after getting the URL, will validate. Okay, so here validate the URL, and yeah, using this asset will validate the URL whether it is whether it is as per our expectation or not. And at last, what we'll do here, we'll write URL matches. Okay, and at last we'll write log dot and test case. And what is our test case? WordPress test. So this is simple flow, guys. We are logging to the application, and after logging into the application, we are capturing the current URL, and we are just simply validating it. And in each steps, we have written some logs, log.info, like entering username, password, like that. Now we have to configure this test class 2 in our XML as well. So simply we'll configure that in our XML, put it over here, and test class 2. So our XML is also ready, and what I'll do, I'll clear this. Now we have two test classes. Okay, test class 1 and test class 2. Test class 1, we have some simple test cases, 3 test cases, and there is one test class in this one. And what I'll do, in base class we'll write after method as well, so that we can close the browser every time. So public void after test method, yeah, tear down, we'll write tear down, and simply write over here after method. After each and every method, it will tear down the browser. So we have driver dot close. So I think all done. We can run our, and what I'll do, I'll clear the logs as well from this logs file, log4j.log file. Okay, so everything is ready. So simply I'll rerun this XML again, run as TestNG suite. So browser is launched, and logging into the application now, and so all cases are passed. So we have 4 test cases, 3 in test class 1 and 1 test case in test class 2. So here you can see the logs on the console for first 3 test cases. It is logged over here, and here you can see WordPress test starts, and entering username, entering password, click on login button. So we can get beautiful logs like this. Here you can see the time being captured, home page, get current URL, validate the URL matches. Okay, so this is the end of this WordPress test. And if you refresh this project, we have this log4j.log file is being generated. So here you can see the logs in this file, this beautiful log, right? So here you can see entering username, enter password, click on login button. So all the steps are being captured over here in the form of logs. So this is how you can use the logs in your project. And let's do one thing. Let's say if you get any issue in any particular line. Okay, let's say on this expected URL I am changing something over here. Okay, so ideally this should not be captured, this URL matches, so easily you can come to know like where the problem occurs. Okay, so simply I'll rerun this testng.xml again. First let's delete the logs from here so that we can understand better. Now let's rerun this testng.xml again. So browser is launched, navigate to open source CMS, click on login button, and yeah, so you can see failure 1 out of 4 test cases. So this is failed because of assertion error. Expected this, but we found this one. Okay, expected, we are expecting here, we have we put 1, so that's what it is failed. Now if you see the logs, if you go to console, so these the logs created. This is for test case 1 2 3, and for here you can see WordPress test, entering username, entering password, login button, home page, get current URL, validate the URL. Okay, and after validating the URL we are not getting the URL matches or not, that result. So we can easily figure it out that our test case getting failed after this line. Okay, and then we can easily debug our code. So this is how you can I'm sorry, so this is how you can configure log4j in your project, guys. So thank you for watching my videos, and thanks a lot. Please, if you're new to this channel, then please subscribe this channel. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.